3 common mistakes every singer makes. Oh, I'm such an idiot with these titles. Whether you're someone that just began their singing journey or you're someone that's well into their singing journey, there are some mistakes that I can see singers making at all skill levels, and today I'd like to share them with you and how to avoid them. Now, before we begin the video, if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Jun, and on this channel we do covers and educational videos about singing and screaming to help you become a better vocalist. So let's get into the video. Now, mistake number 1 is getting discouraged by a lack of progress. This is more for the beginners, as people that are more well into their singing journey realize that, oh, sometimes you hit walls in your learning and it takes a while to get over them. But when you're first starting out, the whole thing is a wall. You feel like you can't get anything right, which is I can relate very well to, because I was once a beginner myself. And if you're born without a natural born talent for singing, right, sometimes it can feel very daunting and you don't feel like you're actually making any progress. But the fact of the matter is, just showing up and practicing is more progress than if you didn't show up and practice. Because when you do practice, even though there's no discernible difference between you before the practice and you after the practice, it's about building a habit of having productive practice, and eventually, after a year or so of consistent practice, you will definitely improve by the end of that year. Your voice is like a muscle, and it needs to be progressively overloaded with effort in order to actually grow. Because when you're first starting out as a singer, your voice isn't used to singing, and so I'd say it takes roughly around 1 to 3 months for your voice to actually build the muscle there in order to get used to singing. So if you're in the beginning stages of singing, you don't really have to fret about, oh, my voice doesn't sound that good, because you're still building that muscle. You don't have to beat yourself up over not sounding great, because you're a beginner. You don't have to sound great. You just have to keep at it and believe in yourself. Not at all. There's this analogy I like to use when people ask me how do I learn how to sing high notes, where I would tell them, okay, imagine this. I can implant the exact knowledge and the exact information that you need to know how to drift a car. When you're faced with the actual situation of being inside a Toyota AE86 and you're supposed to drift down a mountain, I can 100% bet you your muscle memory is not going to be there. The information might be in your head. You might conceptually understand everything to be like, yes, I'm supposed to, do whatever clutch, use the handbrake. But your muscles have not learned that motion yet. Same thing with your voice. You need to build that muscle memory in your voice in order to get used to the feeling of, oh, this is how I'm supposed to place the high note. And sometimes it takes a while to find placement. And don't believe those people that tell you, oh, use this one magical exercise that will magically help you find your mixed voice, because that's not how it works. You need to use productive practice over an extended period of time in order to find that. You can't just magically make it appear out of thin air. It's about working your muscles over and over again and then finding it, providing the foundation in order to build your house upon. As I said, you just spent like 15 to 20 years of your life speaking like a regular human being and not pushing your voice to the extent where it is required while singing. What makes you expect that you can be belting high notes within the first 3 months of you singing? Don't be so hard on yourself. Just trust in the process of practice. Believe in yourself and your capacity to grow. I believe in you. Now, mistake number 2 is not experimenting with how their voice feels. Now, this is a very common mistake that I see, because sometimes people get caught up in how their voice is supposed to feel while they're singing. But in actuality, when you're trying to find the things that are slightly more advanced, you have to be willing to experiment with making some weird noises. And one of my favorite YouTubers for this is Pillay on YouTube, where he'll make these really dumb noises, but in the end you see, oh, he actually accessed the technique at the end, because it's not about having the same placement as your chest voice trying to find your mixed voice. Of course that's not gonna happen, but I just find so many people telling me like, oh, I'm trying to sing higher, but my voice just cracks. Well, because you're pulling up too much weight. You need to experiment with different placements in your voice. You need to experiment with how much support you're giving your voice. So all these things, it's just one big contributing factor in your practice. And one day, you'll find that the placement clicks. But you won't find that placement if you don't experiment. If you're just sticking to your old ways of how you know how to sing, then of course you won't find anything new. And the reality is that when you're practicing, you're not supposed to sound good. Like, I get the feeling of, oh, you don't want to sound bad if you're like practicing in your parents' house or something. But the point of practicing is to sound bad so that when you perform, you can sound good. You have to get all the sounding bad out of the way in order for you to be a great singer. And on the point of being afraid of what your parents think, we can move on to the final mistake number 3, which is being afraid of judgment / what others think of you. And this can happen to people at any skill level, whether they're a beginner, or an intermediate, or an advanced, or even a professional musician. Because I get it, singing is a very vulnerable thing to do. You're not expressing yourself with an instrument that's outside of your body, like a bass guitar, where you're just using your hands, but you're actually using something that's a part of your body, a part of you, to express your emotions / music. And when someone judges our singing, we can feel like they're not judging our ability as a musician, but they're just judging us as a person. They're like judging our voice, which is something that we were born with. But the fact is that nobody really cares about you. I have to say that. And I get that it's scary to be judged by others. But the reality is, nobody gives a shit about you. In my 20 years of living, I realized that everyone is too busy worrying about their own lives and their own problems. Why would they go out of their way to tell you to your face that, oh, you suck at singing, you should stop? If you were to dismantle the mindset of someone who were to be in that headspace to be able to tell you something like that, would you really be wanting to take advice from that kind of person? And as for the practicing thing, you just have to be communicative with the people you live with and telling them, hey, I'm gonna be making demon noises in my room for about 30 minutes to an hour at a time every day. What time would be suitable for you? And while it may be embarrassing to tell this to your roommates or your parents, the sooner you do it, the better, because then they realize, oh, he's not dying, he's just practicing. And they can just start tuning it out whenever they start hearing you. Like, I can just ask my sister right now, come here. Okay. Like, it's okay. You'll be a recurring character in my videos. Welcome to the video. You live right below me, so you can hear me making demon noises in my room all the time. Do you feel personally affected by that? No. Okay, see? Exactly. Now you can go away. As long as you're communicative with the people you live with and you're not being a nuisance at ungodly hours of the night, you won't run into any issues about practicing, okay? I psyched myself out of learning how to sing since I was 14 because I thought that my voice was shit. And sometimes I do get that thought every now and then, but it's about believing in your capacity to grow. As same thing with mistake number 1. You have to believe in yourself because no one else will believe in you except yourself. It is only you who loses in this situation if you don't try. So don't pussy out. Start learning how to sing. So that's the end of the video. If you'd like to check out my other videos, YouTube has recommended a very nice video based on your algorithm and your preferences. Should be here or here, I can't remember. And yes, that's it. I'll see you in the next video.